Let's go to the white. There you go. That's a better place to start. Yeah, you're live. Well, I suppose I should probably be paying attention to when we actually are live and not just being like, you're live.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. My name is... Oh, man, there was an epic pre-show. We've got Ryan rotated. We're calling him the Big Giant Head for this particular episode.
Rotated Ryan's big giant head.
I know, but hang on. This is something we can never do with Space Mike. We can actually go to a full screen shot of Ryan in the show.
Wow.
And
That's magic.
Back to Big Giant Head. Boom. Huh? How cool is that?
What,
That's kind
what
of
other webcasts do you know that can do that?
like most of them, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. My name is Jamie Higginbotham. I will be your host this evening. I'm the creator and executive producer of TMRO, not just the show. I'm actually the creator and executive producer of your Tomorrows. And so that means that if you're not liking how your tomorrow is ending up, it's my fault. So if you're having a really good tomorrow, that's my fault. If you're having a terrible tomorrow, that's not my fault. I'm joined by Jared Head. He works over at the Griffith Observatory, observatoring things.
Yes, observinating the universe.
Observinating the universe, exactly.
So.
And I'm also joined by Ryan Caton, who is studying the universe. He is a student of life at this point. There is... What? No?
Oh,
we don't
gosh.
like that. Oh my God. So in the you know what? And I wanted to get Nightbot going for this show, but there was so many other shenanigans. We got the whole set rotated. We got Big Giant Head edition of Ryan going, like whole bunches of stuff. So I didn't have time to get Nightbot going. But eventually we want to get it so that you guys can actually vote on the title of the episode. When it's all like in the live show, you're going to be able to go, hey, this is what I suggest the episode title is. And then you'll actually be able to go into a webpage and you guys will, the community can vote on what we will actually call this episode when it hits YouTube, which I think is going to be a terrible idea. I wanted to get it going for this particular episode, but it did not happen. Maybe next week. On that note, let's get started. There's so much cool stuff. The laboratory had some announcements. Who wants to start? Ryan, go ahead. Go ahead. Start. Big Giant Head. Ready, go.
Okay, so Rocket Lab came out with a little announcement on December the 2nd. Yes, December 2nd, Thursday. And they said they've announced that Neutron was happening a while ago. They gave us a little concept art, which looks nothing like the current concept art, and it's basically a really cool big rocket, and it's fully reusable apart from the second stage, and I'm really excited about it. And it doesn't need a barge.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. Okay, that is pretty cool. Although to be fair, that's how rocket development works. Is you come up with an idea, you're like, this is what we kind of think it's going to look like, and then it goes through many different. Dud is just laughing back there,
sniggering at my day job.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's kind of the point, right? Is like, you know, the rocket engineers are like, yep, of course, it changed.
Sure. Yes, we'll go ahead and do that for you. Okay. All right, guys.
Well,
It's another 3 months. Right?
I don't know. I thought it looked really cool.
Or 6 months.
They've got the integrated landing sticky legs, right?
Yes, I love that.
Isn't that cool?
I love the shape of it.
I think that was really clever.
Yeah. Well.
And the fairing thing, the fairings, they just open up and close again. Like, why has no one else done that? That's a genius idea.
Well,
they're gonna have to look
Starship?
at some like Dune copyrights or something.
Yes, Starship is doing that, but I mean, why is nobody else?
I think it's You Only Live Twice. I think Dr. Ernesto Blofeld might be showing up at the doorstep in Long Beach. What is going on here? You know?
Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors.
Stop.
I don't think I've seen Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh my God.
Apparently, I have homework.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
All right. What else made you like? What else? So Ryan, what else made you excited about the Neutron announcement? And same question to Jared. And then like, do you think the SpaceX community as a whole, maybe some of the people who are more interested in what SpaceX is doing and less interested in the industry as a whole, do you think Neutron excites them as well?
Well, you obviously get your SpaceX fanboys who only care what Elon Musk is doing. But this announcement from Rocket Lab, I feel it's more like we can do it too. Give them some years to develop it, and then personally,
That's their slogan.
I feel like
That's their slogan.
can
Rocket
do it
Lab.
too.
We can do it too.
I feel like they may be. I don't think they'll be catching up with SpaceX anytime soon because obviously they've got Starship development. But I think this will be able to catch up to. I feel like this will be able to catch up with Falcon over years of iteration. Like Falcon 1 compared to Block 5, that's a massive difference. This is what Neutron looks like today. Think how it will look in, I don't know, 10 years' time.
Yeah. All right.
This is their old presentation. I'm sorry, I misled you.
Oh, no,
but
you're
this-
right because the
Yeah,
legs
it
are
is.
wrong.
This is
Also, it's shiny.
this is Rocket Lab's Falcon 1. Clearly.
Well, I would think their Electron is their Falcon 1, right?
Yeah, Electron would be their Falcon 1. This would be their Falcon 9 Block 0.
1.0 or something.
Yeah, 1.0.
Yeah, or the first
I
5
forgot.
boosters
It
or
went through
something.
different namings. It was like, first it was Falcon 9, and then it was like Falcon 9 Mark. No.
1.1.
Falcon 9 1.1, V1.1, and then it was like, I forget. I don't remember.
1.2 and then full thrust and then
Full
block
thrust. That was
5,
it. Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's it. Yeah, that's exactly what you would think I would remember.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, the SpaceX fans in the. Yeah, I know.
How dare you get it wrong?
I lost all of my SpaceX points on that one. Yep.
Yeah.
So I do again. Other things that make you excited about. I'm like big giant head. There we go. Other things that
We're
make
so
you excited
proud.
about Neutron, Ryan.
Like I said earlier, the fairing design, I think that's just genius because watching the presentation, like every other rocket that exists, I was expecting, second stage, that entire top part will just fly off and then the bottom half will come back. But no, the entire thing comes back and they just spit out the second stage of the fairing. That completely baffled me.
Yeah, that is a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, except that's so it sounds neat, and it is neat, and like obviously if you want reusability, recoverability, reducing your costs, that makes a ton of sense. But the thing to remember is the reason you get rid of your fairings as early as possible is they're heavy. Right, and that's additional mass that you're carrying with you, which means that's additional payload to orbit you cannot have because you're carrying your fairings with you, and that's why they're jettisoned on most vehicles. So there's an engineering trade that they made there to reduce payload capacity to orbit in order to maintain those fairings.
I'd say there's also an engineering trade too in what they're doing because they've changed they've made a static version of the internal volume of their fairings as well. It's not like on a Falcon 9 or on an Atlas where you have the ability to on a Falcon 9 the fairing goes out considerably, so you can actually have a larger payload on it because of the internal volume of the fairing. On like an Atlas 5, you can actually plug and play different fairing sizes
yeah.
from United Launch Alliance there, but with this it's static. It's a part of the vehicle. It's part of the first stage itself.
I mean,
So,
go back to the
yeah.
image for us,
So,
right? So
yeah.
first off, it looks like an alien creature of sorts.
It's awesome.
Which is kind of I'm not arguing. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. It is.
Whoever said Dune, correct. So,
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. But then that is a fairly small upper stage, it looks like to me. I mean, hard to tell scale here in this photo, but like...
I mean, that main rocket is meant to be 7 meters wide.
yeah.
What's a meter?
It's a unit
2 and
of
a bit
measurement
feet.
that the entire planet uses, Detta, including the aerospace industry.
Yeah.
You know that, too.
Well, one thing
okay.
about Rocket Lab is that they say that their upper stage is going to be the lightest that's ever been built.
Because it's made of carbon composites? Do we know, like, what's making it so light?
No, one of the benefits that they said is that they're actually hanging their
Go to your camera.
second
We're stuck
stage
on this image.
TD.
Yeah.
There you go.
Buttons and stuff. One of the things that they said that was a benefit is that they're actually hanging their second stage from like the payload adapter fairing or adapter fitting, so it doesn't structurally need to stand up to the rigors of launch like everybody else's does. So like a Falcon 9, and for example, the interstage between stage 1 and stage 2 transfers the load of thrust from the basically the skirt
yeah.
of the tank
Yeah, that
all the
makes
way
sense.
up to the payload, whereas this one they're hanging the second stage off of that little ring, here.
So essentially, to kind of break it
Thanks,
down,
Dada.
the second stage on a Falcon 9 is integral to the structural integrity of the vehicle. While in the case of Neutron, they've mixed it up a bit and they've set it so that the second stage isn't as integral. There's obviously going to be some loads that it will take compared to none.
But it won't be aero load.
It won't be aero load, and it will only be the mass of the payload being pushed by the second stage rocket engine.
Wow, that is so.
That's actually an interesting idea.
That's very cheeky.
It is,
That
but
is a
remember,
good thought.
they're just what they're doing is they're moving that to the boost stage, right? So it's not like that load doesn't exist and that weight doesn't exist. It's just that now that weight exists in the boost stage. But it also means that you can potentially make your second stage for a lot less money.
Yes.
Right?
And
'Cause it could be a simpler design.
And that's critical because they're not going to be reusing their second stage initially.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the other thing is initially, but once again, go back to that picture. How do you land that second stage? Or maybe you don't. Maybe you just dump it in the ocean? Like, how does that come back?
Orbital Field Depot.
But legitimately, how does that, maybe that's, maybe the trick is that second stage doesn't. Maybe they've got it because you could just another interesting bit about that. You can change your second stage design without having to requal pretty much anything in the boost stage.
Right.
Yep.
Right? You can do so. Maybe that isn't actually what's going to go. Maybe there's a second stage version 2, block 2. That will actually get upgraded and be designed for recovery. That's actually kind of an interesting idea.
Theoretically, they could put whatever they want in there.
Yeah.
People.
No.
People?
I mean, hopefully in spacesuits.
Well, they said people.
Yeah.
So in the presentation, they're going to fly meat. So I know for a long time the joke was, here at Rocket Lab, we're not going to fly meat, but now they are.
Yeah.
So because it turns out meat gets you money.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of money, let's diverge really quick, but I do want to come back to this topic.
Sure.
We had a bet.
We did have a bet.
We had a bet of $1 that it would be foggy at Vandenberg at liftoff. I'm not entirely sure who won that bet.
I don't, and I'm going to agree with you that I don't know who entirely won that bet either.
Because
having been out at Vandenberg.
Right. Because the intent of the bet was that you would be fogged out, wouldn't be able to see anything.
Yes.
You were fogged out, but you could
usual
also see things.
Yes.
Right? Like the pad cameras saw the vehicle. There was fog there, but the pad cameras saw the vehicle.
So
the tracking cameras didn't.
So a friend of mine had
Whoa. When did that happen?
First of all, I know, blew my mind that week too. But a friend of mine had a night vision monocular thing, I guess, whatever.
Was he a Cyclops?
No, he's not a Cyclops.
Okay, checking.
So, which actually makes it more difficult to use.
That makes sense. Just use your dominant eye. Did you know you have a dominant eye?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty aware of that.
I was like, wait, did I just teach you something?
I've got this fun talent where I can actually, my non-dominant eye was a lazy eye when I was a kid, so I had surgery to fix it, and I can cross one of my eyes and then just bring it back. So it's really fun. Like one of my favorite things to do is just, I'll demonstrate to the camera right here, is that I'll just be having a regular conversation with someone, and just like if it's someone I really just don't want to keep talking with for any longer, I'll just kind of do this.
That's why you do that to me all the time.
And then just shake my head a little bit.
I diverged just from we are now 2 layers deep in inception of this conversation. So let me bring it back to the bet, Vandenfog.
We could see it. We could see the fairing and a little bit of the upper stage, as you would be able to see from Providence Landing Park.
So did you win the bet then?
Well, I mean, we could see it with the night vision
because
system
I believe you said that it would be crystal clear. Like, I believe those were the exact words you used, and it is definitely not that.
It was not crystal clear.
But also, all right, so anyhow.
But the thing is, as soon as it left the pad, it was crystal clear.
Okay.
So that's the hard part about it, though. So there was haze. So you could see that 22-degree halo around it.
I think the way this works is I won half the bet and you won half the bet. So you owe me 50 cents and I owe you 50 cents. That's how that's going to play out.
Sure.
All right, so back to Neutron.
Let's
back
go
to
with
Neutron.
That. Let's go with that.
Unless the internet disagrees, I would love for the internet to tell me in the comments below who won that bet, because there was fog, but not so much that you couldn't see the rocket. But Jared did say that it would be crystal clear, which it wasn't. But also the intent is kind of that you're not going to be able to see the rocket. It's kind of an unspoken intent.
Yeah, it's just
did I win saying it was going to be fogged out, or did you win?
I mean,
the letter of your bet is that the weather was going to be bad. The spirit of the bet.
Yeah, and
that you wouldn't be able to see the rocket.
The thing. According to the letter of the bet, I won.
And according to the spirit of the bet, Jared won.
According to the spirit of the bet, I still actually don't know who won. I feel like that's still 50-50 because it wasn't great.
The chat room is saying Ryan won the bet.
I'm fine with that.
So we all owe Ryan $1, but is that like a British dollar? Is that like worth like 50 cents? I don't know. Actually, no. I suppose it.
How much is a dollar worth now?
No, it's the other way around right now. Oh, no, let's not get off track on this. All right. Neutron, Jared, why are you excited
You
about
owe me
Neutron?
76p.
That's like 3/4.
What's a p?
Yeah, what is a p?
A pence, right?
A pence. Yes, a pence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jared.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Neutron.
So.
Jared, why are you excited about Neutron? Or are you not?
Oh, no, I'm very excited about Neutron. Rocket Lab has always been one of my favorite companies just because of how very forward they've been and very open about a lot of the work that they've been doing.
That is nice.
It is nice.
You know, not a lot of companies do that.
Yeah, it's also nice that Peter
Certain colorful companies.
Yes, certain companies.
I don't know. Color. Actually, literally the name of that company is on this microphone. NAA.
Yeah, actually, you're not wrong. So, actually, that company might have bought these microphones for all we know, and they'll announce it later. So I'm pretty excited about it just because, one, I love rockets, and like this is a new rocket on the market, and I have never thought of it as a bad thing as having too many rockets out there. Like,
sure,
it's just exciting that we're living in a time where you can literally, if you're a satellite company, sit down and be like, which rocket do I want to fly on? Which one can actually work for what I want? I also think it's very cool that Rocket Lab looked at the market for what they think is the next, to 2050, I believe is what they said.
Okay.
And looked at basically satellite constellations being a big part of that, even though I'm an astronomer, old astronomer yells at satellite constellations.
Do astronomers do that? Do you just walk out at night, look up at the sky, and start yelling at the satellites?
No, not really.
If not, I feel like that could be a YouTube channel, right? Like angry astronomer, like, satellite!
Most of us are just like, and then we go, okay, I'll write another proposal and I'll get my time on this telescope again in 3 years. So, anyways, that's another conversation to have later. I also appreciate that they're going with carbon composites, and developing a system that can allow them to print that super fast, which I think is important if we're going to actually send humans to different places in the solar system.
If Peter Beck was here again, because we actually interviewed Peter Beck a number of times, a couple of times, and I love having like dollar bets with everyone. If he was here again, because we had him on before they even thought of Electron, right? He was talking about his next gen fuels and whatnot, and then he started talking about Electron and carbon composites. If we had him on today and they weren't doing carbon composites already, I would have bet him $1 that he was going to blow that thing up because of the way liquid oxygen wants to interact with carbon composite. Like, the reason you don't build a carbon composite stage is because it wants to blow up. And so that's the technical term.
Yes.
And
conflagrate.
Or deflagrate.
It's
great.
It's great. The thing is, like, Electron has flown so many times, and they've had some issues, but they've never had a LOX interaction issue. And I don't know what their secret sauce is, because as far as I know, they're not using like a rubber inside protectant liner. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. I think rubber inside protector protector thing.
Condom.
A LOX condom. Is that the name of the show? LOX condom?
LOX condoms and
I
their
got it.
varied
Writing that
uses.
down. I'm writing that one down. LOX condom.
Oh boy. Yep. Well, there goes.
This weekend's off to a great start.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So, Okay, carbon composite. You think that's really cool?
I think it's super cool because of the fact that they must have some kind of secret sauce that's going to allow them to work with cryogenics and carbon composites. Because even SpaceX was like, screw this, we're not doing it. Another cool thing as well is the look of Neutron as well. So if you have ever followed my Twitter account, you know that I am absolutely, if there's anything that I fanboy over in aerospace, it is McDonnell Douglas's DCX. I absolutely love DCX. It does.
That's the flying wedge,
the flying wedge.
Yep.
It does not get enough recognition for what it did because it was doing a lot of these systems in learning to land and fly and be automated in their flights and things like that in terms of landing and entering atmosphere and using atmosphere to slow down and firing your engines so that you have maximum thrust right at the point that you land with zero velocity. A lot of the companies can basically trace lineage back to DCX and some of the work that it did.
I would argue that most reusable rockets today in some way stand on the shoulders of DCX.
Yes.
Be it from data that they acquired or
yes.
whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and DCX wasn't the only one. There was a group at JAXA that did it in the 90s as well. And I would say Maston as well, with work that they've done with things like that is very important. But DCX is really like the genesis of a lot
I feel like Maston also stood on the shoulders of DCX. I feel like DCX was the first.
Yeah. Well, DCX most certainly beat Maston to doing things like that. It's
No,
just, I feel
obviously,
like
I'm not trying to diminish what Maston does. I'm just saying that, like, that's the starting point is DCX, and you've got that data set from them.
Yeah. No, I got you. But yeah, I'm just such a huge DCX fan, and it looks exactly like DCX, and I'm just so excited that like here it is. You know, DCX is finally going to.
It's like a round version of DCX.
I don't care. It looks like DCX, so that's all I care about is the fact that it looks like DCX. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about, and also flying people. You know, because that was a very hard no from Peter Beck when he was on our show. He said, "No, we're never going to do that." But
yeah, I think he actually used the word never too.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure he did.
We're never going to fly people.
So he had to eat his hat. He had to. There you go. He had to eat his hat. So Dutta is a little off his game tonight.
I'm multitasking, actually.
That's the way to put it.
Yeah, there you go. I love this. I love that they did this so much.
He did.
I know he really did.
He's one of those people. He will deliver on what he says.
This is he absolutely does.
There you go.
You know what? As I learned, you don't bet against Peter Beck. I lost $20 to him.
That's got to be framed somewhere.
It is. So he literally had to eat his hat because I forgot why. What was that? Recovery. That was it. He also said, we're not going to do reusability. Blah 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 blah. That's kind of thing. And then yet here they are doing it. He's like, if we do that, I'll eat my hat. And here we are. So I feel like because he said he wouldn't do humans. So what does he eat now? What's the next thing that Peter Beck needs to throw into a blender? Vote down in the comments below. We got a couple of things you need to vote for this week.
Composites?
Oh, no, I think that could really tear apart your stomach.
Yeah.
That would be bad.
That'd be a bit crunchy.
That'd be like eating fiberglass.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Oh, man, that cotton candy was delicious. My stomach itches.
Also, I just want to say, I don't know who produced that segment. Right?
Oh, that was slick.
That was really well done. I was watching that. I was entertained the entire time. I think Peter Beck had great on-camera presence. I don't know if they were using a real LED screen behind him or if they were doing visual effects. If they were doing visual effects, they even did the slight lines in the screen to emulate what an LED screen would look like, and the reflections on the floor. And I noticed that.
I think that was either projectors or LED screens.
I think it would. No, I don't think it would have been projection. It could have been projection, but you could see the lines, and so if there's a line there, that would indicate to me not projection, because projection would blend as a soft.
One of the ones to the right of middle was with the color balance was off.
Oh well, that could still be LED.
Yep.
But that is pushing more towards LED, either LED projection. But again, I saw lines. Oh, I suppose that could be an imperfection in the surface. Well, off topic. Point is, I thought it was phenomenal. I thought that the production standards were excellent. The effects were fantastic. they were on point with story, which is always one of my things of like, you got to tell me a story here.
Well choreographed.
Yeah. Like I was entertained from the beginning to the end. I understood what they were doing, understood why they were doing it. I loved that bit. Yeah. I thought that they did just an absolutely stellar job.
Yeah, I think with Peter
Space
as well.
puns.
Peter did a fantastic job as well.
Absolutely.
It's well known in aerospace that CEOs aren't necessarily noted for being particularly good at giving presentations.
I don't know. He's always been very charismatic and like really great on camera, even when he's live here.
I was going to say, he is one of those people that like if he's on a camera, he is effortless.
I think
not
he's just
really
passionate about this stuff, right?
So, yeah, and he doesn't have to put. I mean, when I was interviewing him, it didn't feel like he was putting.
God, it sounds so pretentious of us now. Like when we were talking about.
Well, when I interviewed Peter Beck, it didn't feel like he. I don't say like he was being lazy, but it just didn't feel like he was putting in effort because he wasn't having to like think super hard about things. Like it just all flowed naturally. Like he was in a flow state while we were talking to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he just knew exactly what I was going to say next, and then was able to answer.
He is a hardcore engineer, but also like personable and like.
That's scary.
Yeah. Anyhow, Eduardo, I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize. Said the video fantastic, but the bitrate of the export was a bit crappy. I don't remember seeing that, but I think I was also watching it on my phone. Frankly,
same here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Someone please bring Ryan back into the discussion. Oh, Ryan, this was Jared's moment.
What?
Jared got a moment, and then we kind of moved we go in a circle.
Yeah.
So again, the whole point of this show is that yeah, kind of. The whole point of the show is to have like casual conversations about space, as if you were a bunch of space geeks geeking out, over dinner or over a drink. And so the conversation will ebb and flow.
Yes.
To and from people. Also, Ryan is not a man of many words. He just isn't. He says his bit. It's usually quite profound, and then he's like, cool, now go have at it.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, mic drop. Although that doesn't work here. Just still floats. Yeah.
Well, we're on station 204.
It's a 0G mic.
So the gravity plating on station only works for humans. It doesn't work on microphones that are tied to the death.
What about the TV?
Well, you're not a human. You're an android. There you go. All right, other news. So I think we're done with Neutron. We spent like 30 minutes talking about it. Although it was exciting. It was really cool. It was really exciting. I was excited.
How can you not get excited for like a company that is like in the wheelhouse of the specific part of the launch industry that they're in, saying we're going to be doing something new and bigger? Like, come on. I mean, that's super exciting.
Yeah, so I guess if you want to answer how you cannot be excited about being the specific in his wheelhouse, leave your comments below, whatever he just said. All right, Ryan, was there any SpaceX news or anything else that happened this week?
Oh. Here we go.
All right.
It's Jamie.
Bye, Jamie. We'll see you later.
Jamie's about to eat the man of many words comment. Ryan, go.
That's all I can say really. Elon has been typing on his emails to everybody. I don't think that was meant to get out of SpaceX, but it did. And
what was it? What was it that got
out? So apparently, according to Elon Musk, if Starship doesn't fly every 2 weeks next year, SpaceX is going to go bankrupt and everything's going to turn to fire and badness. And basically, it's a bit.
Well,
I don't know how to describe it really.
I got 2 words. I got 2 letters for that. BS. That's all I can say about that. Yep.
Same here.
BS. I swear that is.
It's just. I don't know how to describe the tactics that he's trying to do here, but like it felt so weird and wrong. It's just like, why? When I read that, I was just scripting news. I was just like, why?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to necessarily say it read like a creative writing project from 8th grade, but it was definitely felt like it was a economics paper from somebody who was, gosh, I don't even know how to say it nicely. That's the hard part. I'm trying to be respectful, and it's difficult because it was just so much. Gosh, yeah. You have to consider the fact that SpaceX raised over $3.5 billion over the past 2 years when we've been in a pestilence-induced recession. Like you're telling me that there aren't a bajillion people who want to throw as much money as they can at SpaceX in investment rounds and other things like that. Yeah. So, yeah. I just am so not buying any line of that there. So yeah.
I mean, they've got Falcon, they've got Dragon, they've got so many contracts, they've got so much investment. There's absolutely no way that by not flying Starship a lot next year that the company could go under. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I find that very, very difficult to believe. And yeah, game over. No, not at all with that. So, but there were some interesting things that were in that, like Shaolin Funk is pointing out, which if I can hit that correctly. There, yes. The new version of Starlink apparently is too big to fit in the Falcon fairing, so they're committed to using Starship. Which is risky when they're still prototyping it. So possibly, if you look at the history of satellite communications, especially delivering internet from orbit, every single company that's done that has failed. So it doesn't mean SpaceX is going to fail with Starlink, but it is, odds aren't in their favor. But of course, if there's several people I would never bet against, and Peter Beck and JPL are there, and SpaceX is another that I would never bet against as well. That's another reason why I don't believe the bankruptcy thing going on with it as well, because I don't imagine that happening on Elon's watch with something like that.
Do we know or imagine what the limitation there is or can they not fit enough inside of a Falcon 9 payload fairing that they can get them to orbit, or what's the limitation there?
I don't know. I'm not sure whether anything has been released, like numbers wise, on Starlink V2. I presume by saying not fitting that a whole cluster of them wouldn't be able to fit in a Falcon, because like on Starship it's massive, you can stick as many things in there as you want, but you can't do that on Falcon.
A Starlink batch and a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole point of Starlink working and becoming effective is getting as many up as rapidly as possible. So that's where I could see the idea of wanting to do a launch every other week by the end of next year. I don't necessarily think the context of that was correct in what most people were interpreting with it. I feel like that was more like a aspirational goal, as Elon often does with a multitude of things. But it was just amazing. Yeah, as Raul's pointing out, Falcon 9 can do almost 23,000 kilograms to low Earth orbit. How big are those Starlink 2.0 sats? They've got to be pretty big.
Hubble size?
So, yeah.
Hubble size. So obviously we need to get the space shuttle back up and going so we could start deploying one Starlink from each shuttle. So, and we'll get Space Shuttle Atlantis to do that. So
it's already there. It's fine. You just got to lift it out of the museum.
Exactly. Yeah, it's already got.
You got to deconstruct the building around it. That's the biggest hurdle there. But you just got to. It's fine. You've already got an external tank there as well. You've just got to make it a real one. That can't be that hard.
Yeah, and Massimo kind of has what I kind of took away from it, which is that, the version 2 satellites are bigger, they need a bigger rocket. The gist of the email is that they have production issues worse than what Elon thought that they were, and the bankruptcy thing is BS. So, yeah, kind of in hard agreement with that there with our chat room. Our chat room is like, I don't disagree with just about everything our chat room is throwing at us today. So thank y'all for that watching with that there. It's pretty cool when that ends up happening. Yeah, it's what did I say?
Yes, you did, Chris.
Oh yeah, Chris. Chris. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. I just read that one. So and also Vax is pointing out that Elon on Twitter 9 hours ago just said that the construction of Starship's orbital launch pad at the Cape has begun. So I guess
I saw that. That's quite exciting.
We're back on that Florida again and making that happen.
Yeah.
So and Chris, I'm still laughing about
Ryan, when they do the once around orbit to Hawaii, what are they going to land on there? Have they built a pad in Hawaii to land on, or what?
They're going to land on the sea and if it even gets that far.
Walk on water?
Elon Musk, it's going to do that exactly. Elon Musk doesn't. Elon said if it gets to the orbital velocities needed to get to Hawaii, then that'll be a great success. So at this point, if we believe what Elon says, we're not even expecting it to get to that splashdown point. If it does get to that point, that will be incredible.
Yeah. That's going to be something else. I really hope it doesn't blow up in the first 60 seconds. I hope it's at least well over the Gulf of Mexico before, if it were to unzip and blow up. Please do not occur close to the pad or the ground or the city nearby in that area. So that would be very, very bad. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Vax there saying that it's going to... Elon said if it gets off the pad before it blows up, he'll be happy. I think he said that about Falcon Heavy as well, if I remember correctly. And then Johnny Spacer saying it will land on a big trampoline out there. So I wonder who's going to put that there. So... maybe we can sponsor somebody or get a company to sponsor like a landing pad out there, and we can figure out where to do that. Like maybe everybody wins like a free taco or something. That'd be pretty sweet. So I personally would like that. I don't know about you guys, y'all, with that. So with that, oh yeah, Vax Pizza Hut. Yeah, I think that was a thing actually with, I want to say Space Station.
Oh yeah.
So with that, so yeah, it's pretty funny with that. So, Ryan, can you speak to some of the issues that they're talking about with Raptor? Is it production issues, or is it like issues with the design of Raptor? Because I actually don't 100% know. I haven't read entirely up about that. So I figure if anybody's going to know really well, it's going to be you about that.
And you'd be wrong, because I'm not sure.
Excellent.
I'm not sure what part of the Raptor part is. Elon said about staying in the factory with the production line, so I'm going to assume that it's a production issue. Because they obviously, there's a lot of Raptors underneath Super Heavy and under Starship, and think how many of them they're building. They're now ramping back up production. We've seen parts of Ship 22. They've obviously got Ship 21 already built. Ship 23 is probably already around the corner, and the new boosters. That's a lot of Raptors. So they're going to need to be producing them quite quickly. So I'm presuming from what Elon said, that is a production issue and not an actual flying issue, because we've seen them fired before and they seem working okay.
Yeah, Shaolin Funk kind of running with us there, which is I think it's just slow production rather than any particular part of the engine. And yeah, it seems that way with Elon's email there. Also, Massimo saying, will they start manufacturing at the Cape as well? Ship the whole thing there in pieces and do final assembly at the Cape. I think it's going to go back. I would assume at least it's going to go back to what it was like before they consolidated everything at Starbase, and that they actually do have a separate team at the Cape. But also, I'm probably very wrong about that as well.
I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, I think because the tweet happened 9 hours ago, it might be a little early on that. I'm just going to take a guess here.
It might be a little early.
Yeah, and then of course
also with that pad at 39A, actually quickly.
Yeah.
What are they going to call it? I'm not sure, because NASA have built their little small sat launch pad 39C, but it's within the confines of 39B. This new orbital launch pad is going to be in the confines of 39A, so. What are they going to call it? Is it going to become 39D?
Well, if Falcon 9 is going to eventually be retired, I figure they're probably going to end up just keeping 39A as
It's
is.
not 39A though, is it?
It's not, but at the same
39A, it's the same pad in the exact same spot where Saturn V, Shuttle, Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy have taken off from. If they're building a new orbital launch pad that isn't on where that specific location on Earth is. That's not the same pad, though, is it?
Yeah. Well,
You can't say this is the historic pad when it isn't.
yeah, Loopy is saying 39D, just taking the usual naming conventions. Aravel has got an interesting one, 39AA on that there. Oops. Where we got that at? Yeah, there we go, 39AA. I like Matt Clark, which is 39X.
That sounds quite nice.
That's not bad.
But then again, that's not the letter that comes after C, so...
Yeah.
It does. It just comes way after.
True,
not directly
true.
after C.
Yeah, I'm going with 39X. I quite like that. I think that works pretty good. So
Tweet that and get credit.
yeah, quick, you better. So whoever's got that in there. So yeah, and actually there's somebody had a really good comment here about Raptor that I wanted to point out real quick. Oh, where is it? Basically saying that, where is it? Oh, I just thought I saw it. Basically saying that, we're already talking about the second version of Raptor. Oh, yeah, here we go. So Shaolin Funk just bringing it today. Still crazy to me that they're already working on Raptor 2 and Raptor 1 is barely out of prototyping. Talk about rapid progress of SpaceX. So, yeah, he comes very, very quick. So yeah, it's impressive at how fast it goes, but ultimately we'll have to see what the limiting factor ends up being with something like that.
Money,
money, yes, of course, with something like that.
Hence the bankruptcy email.
Yeah, I still feel like the bankruptcy email is just a light a fire kind of email. Yeah, it's really difficult for me.
Is that like Lewis Hamilton saying his tires are shot?
Yes, it's yeah. Thank you for that, Dada. I appreciate that one. And thank you, Dada. Great, good inside stuff. Yeah, it's to me, it just sounded very much. It's just a startup kind of thing, right? Gosh, almost 2 decades in, and we're still getting the startup emails. But I mean, if it motivates the right people to do the right thing, then I guess it did its job, right? Would I have done something like that? I don't think so. But also, like, I'm not trying to run my own rocket company, so I'll try to reserve judgment on other people who are running their own rocket companies. With that there. So anyways, yeah, yowza. So that was, it was definitely a whole lot of interesting stuff has happened over these this previous.
Interesting is the right word, I think.
Previous time with that there. So yeah, very interesting stuff. So good stuff. So
is that your rap?
That's my rap for it. So
right.
I don't know how to get out of this one. So
he always does a soft rap, and then it's a Minnesota soft rap.
Yeah.
I'm very.
I was trying to figure out, like, can I go back in the conversation?
Come on, jump back in.
Yep.
We're back in. We're back in.
Welcome back.
Any other fun stuff from like the astronomy world this week, Jared?
Yes, actually. Well, DART obviously launched the double asteroid redirection test,
and it reached the asteroid and pushed it out of the way already, right?
Oh no, it has not.
That's how that works.
Still got some time for it to get to the asteroid.
Another week or two.
No, it'll do it October of next year.
That's coming up. Oh, no, that we were already past October.
It's just 11 months from now.
No, we're past October. We just got out of October.
October of 2022. So
that's a bummer.
Yeah, I hope they hit it on my birthday, though. I would definitely appreciate that.
When's your birthday?
October 7th.
Oh,
so
I should have known that, and yet I didn't.
So yeah, well, I mean, hey, did the first?
I've already forgotten it.
Yeah, it's okay. So
You wrote it down so you didn't have to remember.
Thanks. So yeah, and it's a very exciting mission because this is, as I've been jokingly saying, hashtag Earth shot first with this here. Heading out.
That's great. I hadn't heard that.
I almost just spit tea out of my mouth.
Good. I hope you do. I hope you do.
I know. Okay, hold up. I see. There's a line of swag that has to happen. There has to be swag that says Earth shot first with the DART mission. This needs to be a thing. That is amazing. I love that. I love that.
In the Star Wars
Thank
font.
you.
Oh yes. Yes.
I actually have the Han Shot First T-shirt. I think that would be a good play on that.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
DART.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to say I was the person who started that, by the way.
Were you really?
So I didn't see anybody tweet it before I did.
It's brilliant.
So
oh,
you're
Jared,
welcome.
that's brilliant. I love it.
welcome.
I absolutely love
You're
it.
welcome. So, yeah, that's mine. But yeah, heading out to the binary asteroid, or actually,
It's known as a bastroid.
Bastroid?
No, we can't say that. That's
I was
bad.
about to say that might be a.
I didn't think that went through.
Yeah. No, it's okay. We forgive you. The binary near-Earth asteroid Didymos.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, well, its moon is called Dimorphos. But I'm so mad.
Why is this moon called that? Is it like
mythology or something?
Cool.
I don't know. Before it got called Dimorphos, they called it Diddy Moon. And I'm still really mad that.
Okay, we're taking naming rights away from astronomers. That's it. You guys can't name anything anymore.
I'm not going to disagree with you, so don't worry. You're a Gotham. There's that. So with DART going out to Didymos and going to be smacking into Dimorphos, what we're basically looking for is seeing how much is its orbit moved after DART impacts it. So a few days before it impacts, they will actually deploy a CubeSat out that is going to take imagery of the impact as it's going in. Also, it's got a camera on board that's going to take imagery all the way until the real-time feed stops, because it'll smack the asteroid at about 8 kilometers a second, roughly.
Real-time feed?
Well, it'll continuously send back photos as best it can. I don't know the actual distance.
Continually sending photos as best it can is a little bit different than real time, Jared.
Okay, real time as best as it can. So
okay,
with
that's going to be like one image every couple of minutes sort of thing.
I wanted some YouTube 1080p, low latency. I'm disappointed now.
I can turn the screen off, Ryan.
You got to remember, it's taking these images very rapidly because it's using this camera to navigate as well.
Yep.
And it's using this camera to make sure that it's going to hit Dimorphos.
What's the resolution? What's the bit rate that it has back to Earth?
I don't recall.
Because these things matter, Jared.
I do recall seeing that like 6 hours before impact, it's finally going to be like 2 pixels in size, so it's not a lot.
Just like AI, or just like your iPhone, AI will pick the one with your eyes closed.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the way it'll work.
I think people are expecting live real-time video.
No,
I
highly
do not expect that. This is going to be like a few images, really low res.
So the thing about it is that the CubeSat is going to be taking imagery as well and sending that back as quickly as it can. And look,
look in space, in satellites, as quickly as it can mean a week.
Yes.
So
I know.
There's this weird expectation. I think that people are going to be able to watch this thing in 1080p.
So you'll initially get photos of things.
Yeah.
This is like I don't know if anybody watched live when NASA's Deep Impact mission ran into a comet on July 4th, 2005. I did, because I was a huge nerd as a child.
Past tense?
You did too.
Through a telescope.
Through a telescope?
Yep.
Why were you doing that?
I was in the middle of the desert.
Oh, okay. Did you see anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Really?
Very nice.
Okay.
Very nice. So, they got a few images, like those quick images down from the flyby vehicle quickly of the impactor smacking into the surface of the comet, blowing
but again,
out the huge
those
amount
were
of
only
stuff.
like onesie twosies sort of thing.
Yes, but that's like better than nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I'm just making the point. This is not going to be video.
The day after is when it will likely get all of those images back, and then we could string them into a video. So,
yeah.
So I'm sorry. What do you want us to do?
No,
it's
nothing.
difficult to do these things.
I'm not. No, all I'm trying to do is set proper expectations, so that because what happens on these missions is if you watch it live, first off, these things are very exciting and it is going to be very, very cool. But what you're probably going to see is a control room of people. Is this I forgot. This is not a JPL mission.
This is Johns Hopkins University.
Yeah, right. So you can see that
Laboratory.
control room, not the JPL control room, but that one.
The Apple. Apple?
Yeah, that it's applied. It's the applied.
Jehu Apple. Jehu Apple.
No, I think it's just APL, right? You're gonna see the APL control room. Yeah,
sure.
You'll see the APL control room and a bunch of people sitting at consoles, and you're gonna see them go, "Yay! And then you're going to wait a little while longer. You're going to see a single image, and then you go, thanks for watching. And that will be the broadcast.
I think actually it's going to be more like, we've lost the signal! Yes! It'll actually be the first time anybody in a control room at a major mission event will be like, yes, signal! Actually, it was really funny. Like a couple days before the launch, I actually ran into somebody at the observatory who was working on DART and was out there for the launch with everything with it to work at Vandy in the control room to make sure everything was working fine. And I said, I've never been able to say this before about a mission, but I hope you crash. So so we're really excited.
Oh my God, wouldn't it be amazing if it didn't and it missed
Stop speaking, Jamie. I'm already nervous about James Webb Space Telescope coming up in a couple weeks.
Couple weeks and plus 3 days, right?
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they don't have another vibration event where they accidentally set something off again and
I love how they're
Oopsies.
like, oopsie doopers.
Nothing to see here.
What's 4 days already on top of 14 years?
I mean, I think they should take the time and be sure, right? Like, you don't want to screw this. You don't want to be the person who screwed this one up.
If I can be like entirely honest here, I don't think it will be the end of NASA's astrophysics division. But when Hubble was screwed up, there were people calling for the end of NASA's astrophysics division.
Okay, now what if you're not completely honest?
What?
You said if I can be completely honest. Now, don't be completely honest. And then what do you say?
Oh, things will be perfectly fine, and they'll build a second one very quickly. They'll just ring someone up at the NRO and get another round of mirrors that we can just have. And we'll be like, hey, you got any more? You got any extras?
So you're excited for James Webb. So James Webb, you're excited for. Are you excited for? Yeah, we talked. Yeah. So you're excited for James Webb.
It's just one of those things that I've heard about this as a child. And now it's finally happening. And
oh my God, has it really been that long?
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. So, well, hey, next generation telescope in the late 90s.
You know, we were in fact talking about this during Space Vidcast days, weren't we?
Yeah.
That's when we
probably were.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I feel so old.
I know. This is not good.
Yeah. I'm just nervous thinking about it right now. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. So.
You get off my lawn with your new age satellites.
I would not call JWST a new age satellite. That is a decades old technology.
That is cutting edge technology.
It is cutting edge technology.
Sure.
I'm very sorry to break it to you, but there is no other type of infrared optics that James Webb is flying with.
It has to be considered cutting edge technology until something better comes along, and nothing better has come along yet.
Yes.
So even though it's from the 90s,
Not that you know of.
yay, hasn't been declassified.
I don't know.
I'm just going to stay here and be quiet. So
Conspiracy theory.
I was gonna say because the aliens have all of the technology in Area S4.
I'm not saying it was aliens, but
that's exactly what it
It's
is.
aliens, like big hair. All right, I've really broken the show now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything
But
else?
it is your show to break. So
That
that's
is
the
true.
thing.
That is
So-
true. Anything else you're excited about, Ryan?
No,
No.
not really.
We do have a comet coming up that you might be able to see, so called Comet Leonard. So
Okay, now that's a fun name.
we're waiting for it to get.
Who named that? An astronomer did not name that.
So
it's a backronym, I bet, right?
okay, may I Google this?
Go
please?
for it.
Okay.
Yeah. He has
I wanna
to
make
ask
sure.
permission to Google,
Thank you.
apparently.
Well, usually you're like, hey,
Talk to the internet.
So, astronomer Gregory Leonard discovered it, so he named it after his last name. That's like if I found something like, oh, I'm going to name this comet Head.
That would be amazing, though.
It would be pretty cool.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Or like Hale Bopp, right? We all remember Hale Bopp from the 90s, right?
Oh, actually, Vax has a really good comment. Also, I just want to say one more time, Vax, I'm loving the new logo. More importantly, on James Webb Space Telescope, nobody has built a superstructure that weighs that little, that is that big, and that stiff that has actually flown. So what you're saying is potential point of failure, and point of failure.
There's a lot.
Well, am I wrong, Dada?
You're not.
No, all right, I'm just saying.
You're not wrong. That's why
How
I'm
many-
also scared.
How many new things can we put on this?
Well, okay, so and I will respect that. I do. I'm mostly just trying to get a rise out of you, which is not necessary today for some reason. Like you're doing it to yourself.
I'm already rocking
yeah.
with it. So.
Yeah.
It's already advancing beyond Hubble's capability because it's not even going to be focused as it goes up.
No.
It has to focus on in station after it assembles itself.
Yep.
Arguably, that might be
its
better because if
orbital
Hubble
point.
had the ability to do that, we wouldn't have had as much of an issue, I feel like,
It's
right?
actually an advantage, but every single
Yeah.
one of those mirrors, the motors on them has to work.
Okay,
So
actually, that's
additional
a good
points
point
to
because there are
failure.
tons of mirrors up there. Well, I say tons, but there are.
No, there's literal
is it-
tons.
Huh, yeah. What
Like,
happens?
Literally.
What happens if one doesn't get into position? Can they work around it? Can they refocus the light in a?
Possibly. So a lot of people don't know this because what they know about Hubble is that it had it had the issue when it was deployed in 1990, and then it took until the amazing STS-61 Story Musgrave led mission
Gave it
in
some glasses.
1993 to give it co-star with some glasses.
That's a monocle.
We gave it-
actually, correct.
Oh yes, it's a
Very much
monocle.
correct.
It is a Cyclops.
Yes,
It is a
Hubble is a Cyclops.
It is
yeah.
a Cyclops. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cyclopses.
Yeah.
Cyclopsy.
Okay. Anyhow, yeah.
Cyclops.
So not a lot of people know.
Yes, not a lot of people know that during that 3-year time period, they were still doing observations with Hubble. It was still on par with the best ground-based observatories that we had at that time. And they developed computer algorithms that would basically deconvolute the images. So basically get them back and clear out the noise and the messy light and everything in it. Once they figured out how the light was bouncing incorrectly, they figured out how in a computer to literally get rid of that bouncy light that's in there. And they ended up getting images that were actually pretty close to what you would actually expect from the full resolution of Hubble at that time.
That's
So-
pretty cool. So we didn't
It
even
is.
need to send up that very expensive mission.
No, we did, because there were other things that broke on Hubble while it was up there. So, yeah, there were a lot of things that went
Probably a
wrong.
reaction wheel of sorts.
Yeah, instruments that didn't work, solar panels that were sketchy, just...
Didn't they have to replace a computer as well?
A couple.
So that bodes well for James Webb. Al, remind me, what does the servicing mission to James Webb look like again?
It looks like everybody's sitting on the ground crying and drinking heavily. And careers ending.
Yeah, potentially, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized this has been 30 years, right? There are people that have potentially oh God, gotten their job like out of college working on James Webb,
Yeah.
and have been working on this for decades, and it is
Yes.
all they have known, and it is James Webb is literally their entire career.
Yes, that's typically how a mission is going to work. If you're at least a flagship mission on the level of something like James Webb,
Max.
like Cassini. Cassini started in the 80s. It was going to be a joint mission between the European Space Agency and NASA at that time. And then NASA basically had to pull out of another mission that the European Space Agency was going to be a part of, which ended up turning into Rosetta, the mission to a comet. And that was just to keep Cassini ready to go and still keep the European Space Agency's lander Huygens as a part of it. And that started in the early 80s and didn't end until 2017. These are people that literally have worked almost 40 years of their career on a single mission.
That's incredible
And
to me.
that's what they've done. So, and there are people that will also spend the entirety of their careers in like a single part of missions. So, like one I could think of is, why am I forgetting her name? Imaging on Voyager and Cassini. Oh no, why am I forgetting?
That's all
her
right.
name?
Can move on.
But she worked on Voyager and Cassini,
Yeah.
and like I'm talking like from the 70s all the way up to the end of Cassini's mission. So like that is just like one career involved in imagery, and just
That is
taking
pretty
imagery.
cool.
And thank you, Carolyn Porco. Yeah, Carolyn Porco. Thank you so much.
There is a really great comment from Johnny Spacer. It says, after Hubble, I really don't understand why James Webb Space Telescope wasn't made to be serviced. And actually, there's a technical reason for that.
There is a technical reason for that. So the reason why is that the James Webb Space Telescope is absurdly cold, right?
How cold is it?
I think it was what did we say, like 40 Kelvin, something like that, which is really cold. So it's cold enough that if you were to send a vehicle to James Webb, the thrusters, whatever you use for the propellant for them, will actually go through deposition. So it'll go from a gas to a solid, right onto the electronics, right onto everything that's cold, the radiators, right onto the optical assembly, right onto the instruments, right onto the actual, mirrors themselves. It's so cold that is what will happen. That you will literally ruin the telescope just by approaching it.
That's actually kind of cool.
And that is what I was told directly by an engineer from Northrop Grumman at Griffith Observatory.
That's really
so.
But
yeah.
hold up, can you not use an alternate form of propulsion?
If you can find something
Well, hold on.
that
There's
will not depose.
Yeah. There's an assumption that we're sending humans up there, but what if we just got humans close-esque, right? Like, really?
Not me, dude.
Interesting.
That's coming from the engineering room.
Oh, whoops. All right. So no one could probably hear that. So I just stopped randomly, and everyone's like, "Why is she stopping?" Sorry, someone left their foot. So rule number 1 is you silence your phones before you get on the show, and we just heard.
Yep.
All right. You could get nearby, so get humans nearby, or maybe not. Well, it's pretty far out. Well, whatever. But then send a robot over there and use like ion thrusters or something else. Use an EM drive.
Oh, shut up.
You see how I grabbed my coffee and backed away?
Shut up. You want one? Oh my God, be quiet.
Okay, but seriously, use like an ion drive or some.
So let me ask you this.
Okay, answer is 42.
Actually, maybe. How well is your robot gonna work in 40 Kelvin temperatures?
So those are the temperatures of the vehicle directly, right?
Yes.
So can you
There's a problem with the mirror.
Hey, hang on. Okay, so hold on. Let's go through this scenario. Let's go through a servicing scenario
Sure.
for James Webb Space Telescope.
Let's scare the bejesus out of me.
I'm going to enjoy that immensely.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because somehow we are smarter than the engineers that designed it.
Yeah.
Let's do some armchair engineering, which is always my favorite.
Put on the Reddit hat.
Thank you, Reddit.
No,
Even Donna said it.
No, that's not what Reddit does. That's not fair to Reddit. Okay.
That's not the only thing they do.
No, I enjoy Reddit, both of you. I actually enjoy Reddit. I get a lot of information there. I actually use it.
That is true. It is useful.
It is a useful tool. I like the people there. I get a lot of great information. I don't think we should give it a hard time. Also, that's where space buoys were born, and you guys give me crap about that all the time. And so you're welcome. All right,
Fair
cool.
enough.
So, okay. Let's just say there's a critical issue with James Webb Space Telescope. Can we not? So we've cooled it down. It's at operating temperatures.
Yes, cold.
It's obscenely cold. We can't approach it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a critical problem. Whole observatory's down. Does not operate. Don't you then at that point go, well, okay, maybe we should warm it back up so we can go service it? Do you have to keep it that cold? Like, can't you close down the optics or like protect the mechanisms that are going to get damaged with heat? And then approach it, do the service that you need to do, leave, and then spend 6 months to spin it back up?
No.
Why?
Because that system is designed in a way that the fluid, I don't recall if it's a fluid or not, but I believe it's ammonia that's going to be cooling it. Very similar to the system that you have on the space station.
Hold up. All right, I'm gonna make this full screen. Joseph just said Jamie's Minnesota came out. Apparently, I said, "Don't you know? Don't you?" I'm sorry. Okay. So you've got a cooling mechanism. It's a fluid. It's a whatever. It's solid hydrogen. I don't care.
Solid hydrogen. Jesus.
Wasn't sure you guys would catch that one.
Oh, my God.
Think about how, hold on. Think about how cold that would have to be. Right?
I mean,
you're talking about insane temperatures. That would be insane.
I actually want to say that's been used before.
It has. The X2, it's the X2 rocket at Mission Space.
I think that there was an actual mission that did use solid hydrogen. I'm serious.
Throwing it all the way back to
Okay, now hang on. So somebody researched solid hydrogen to see if that's actually being used, because I'm going to call shenanigans on that. In the meantime, hang on. I want to know why you can't warm the system back up. What is this? What did they design in there that prevents you 100%, guaranteed prevents you from allowing the system to warm back up? And then if your servicing mission needs to bring a new fluid with it and then inject more solid hydrogen into the system. I got to use that twice.
If the system
now obviously solid hydrogen is a thing.
Yes,
it's just like
which
you're
was
not going to use that.
Which, by the way, I just confirmed was used on the Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer. You're welcome. So that system is not designed to be tapped. That system is designed to be as closed loop as possible so that it can last as long as possible on board of James Webb.
But why couldn't they have put a small tap in there?
Because that is a point of failure for the system. That's the thing.
The whole system's a point of failure.
Oh my God,
I disagree with these decisions.
We have enough points of failure as it is. We don't need one more.
But you
don't need McDonald's. We've got food at home.
But when you build hold up, I get what you're saying.
What did we find the other day? It was like 141 single point failures.
A lot. A frightening amount.
If there's a frightening amount of single points of failure, then why not make it so that you can at least try to fix them? At least give yourself a chance.
Okay, look.
And I get it's really far out, and maybe we don't have the technology today to send humans there right now, but at least give yourself an opportunity to design something. Okay.
So Loopy's got it, which is that the coolant is a consumable. There's boil off.
Sure.
I don't want to say it's being vented overboard in an amount
I get it, but we can build a robot that brings you more of the liquid.
The problem is...
What is it, liquid helium? It's helium or something. Okay, yeah?
The problem is...
Well, helium's freaking cold. Like,
is
liquid
cold.
helium's really cold. You could use it as a... Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, we have used it as something to actually keep an infrared telescope cold. Because
sure, yeah. It's freakishly cold, yeah.
Good heck, it's cold. So...
Golly gee willikers.
Golly gee willikers, oh heck and heck, it is
Don't you know
cold.
you betcha.
Perfect. Joseph Gruber just said
it
immediately. If you design it for servicing, it just increases risk, complexity, and cost.
Okay. So
there's no way to increase cost on that.
Yes,
challenge
we
accepted,
can.
Dada.
Yes, we can. Let me tell you.
Now, I get what you're saying. I understand it increases complexity and cost, but you can do smaller things that allow you to I have a hard time buying that you can't make it serviceable so you can just shut the system down and then figure it out from there. And I realize not everything's going to be serviceable. You don't need to have hot swappable components for everything.
Yeah.
But in order to service it at all, you need to be able to shut it down. Otherwise, you're not wrong. It's way the heck too cold.
Yes.
Right? You just can't get near it.
Well, one thing that it is going to run out of coolant. That's a thing. We can't overcome that.
Although, Joseph, this is a really good one. Do you want a $2 billion telescope or $1 billion? In Congress, $1 billion, and it ends up being 10.
Well, that's what happens when...
The zero was silent.
All right.
Thank you, Dada. Again, complexity, risk. Somebody in the chat room mentioned weight, which is all these things. It's just difficult to do that.
I get that it's difficult, but how much complexity and weight are we adding for an off switch?
So you're asking, so we could turn it off. Okay, now we've got to have a system that will allow something to approach it, right? So because you now have a vehicle that has to come within close proximity of something that costs $10 billion.
No, what was the original price again? $1 billion. So no, it cost $1 billion. That was the
order of magnitude on top.
Sure. But the design was $1 billion. So okay.
Was
I get it, but that's one thing. Okay, so
$10 billion thing, which you've got to remember too. We've got the sunshades there as well. Those unbelievably thin layers, which I'm sure not going to appreciate thrusters hitting them.
Can those be collapsed on orbit?
No. Once they're open, they're open. So yeah, basically everything. Oh Lord, do I hope everything deploys?
But here's the thing. So the sunshades. You're not wrong. Like you don't want to do bad things.
I understand. So shut down the cryocooler.
You need to be able to service it in the first place, right? And in order to do that, you got to make it not cold.
We would love to have that.
Right. We don't have that.
Yes.
That's the bit that I have an issue with. It was like, why don't we just have an off switch? From there, everything else is figure outable.
Yeah.
Because if it's so bad, if the telescope is so bad that it doesn't operate, if we're in a critical condition where it doesn't operate, then guess what? If you accidentally rip the solar, it doesn't matter. It's no worse of a state than it was to begin with. But if you can't even shut it off, you have no opportunity at all to even try to fix it.
Yes, because it's so complex.
Just an off switch. I just want an off switch.
Turn it off. Okay.
That's all I'm asking for.
Shut it down. Shut it all down.
Shut it all down.
Right.
Is this Ghostbusters?
Pull the plugs. So, have something approach a $10 billion piece of equipment.
Yeah.
You've got to have something that can handle doing that.
Sure.
You've got to make sure that your $10 billion piece of equipment can handle docking with something like that.
Not necessarily.
Oh, doggone it. It's too cold on the other side to do that.
Jared, what?
Then.
All right, Jared. All right, let me try this from a different angle. Let me try it from the different.
Maybe
angle.
I'm not understanding. What
yeah.
you're
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We've launched James Webb Space Telescope.
Yes.
It's unfurled.
Yes.
The computer just will not start up. We cannot get RF to the vehicle. We cannot get downlink from James Webb Space Telescope. It will not work. Now what? Well, there's no off switch. I can't approach the vehicle to even try to fix it. If I had an opportunity,
this is IT. Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again?
I guarantee you they will try that, Dada. I guarantee you they will try that. But okay,
well,
so
luckily
now we've got it.
That's
so,
one of the first things they're going to do after deployment
pick
from the
any
upper
scenario.
stage,
Pick any scenario, right? Mm-hmm. If there's a critical failure on the system. There's any sort of like something jostled loose on the way up. Something didn't happen like it was supposed to. Mm-hmm. We have no opportunity to fix it. None. We can't even. We have limited our ability to even imagine opportunities. Actually, that's not entirely true. We've limited our ability to imagine opportunities once the vehicle is at cryogenic temperatures.
And that's because of the cryogenic temperatures that we've had to run it at.
Right. I get that. It's crazy cold. I get that. I get that. All I'm asking for is an off switch. I just want an off switch, man.
I want to circumvent physics as badly as anyone else does, but let me tell you,
just an off switch.
Nature cannot be fooled.
Just an off switch. Once you have the off switch, at least you can approach it. That's my entire point.
You could approach it, then you've got to refuel it, right? You've got to load the cryo back onto it.
At least you have an opportunity for success. Mm-hmm. We have prevented that opportunity for success by not giving the system an option. We are not going to agree.
I'll agree with that.
Okay.
So we have basically
in the comments. I want to know who you agree with. Do you agree with me?
What do you mean who you want to agree with?
Who do you agree? Do you agree with Jared and all of the engineers who built the $10 billion telescope, or do you agree with my armchair engineering having no insight into the vehicle whatsoever? By the way, you should not be agreeing with me.
I think it's okay. So it does. I will say it does suck, and it is absolutely unbelievable that there is no option to service the James Webb Space Telescope. But at the same time, you have to look at it from an engineering perspective, and you have to look at it from the physics perspective, and both of those say, hell no.
No. So, I think physics doesn't say hell no. It's the engineering that says hell no. The physics says hell no because you can't shut it off. That's my gripe. That's my only real gripe. I'm not saying that you need to have a bunch of serviceable ports or anything else. What I'm saying is we can be clever. Look at Hubble.
Yes.
Which
was designed to be serviceable.
Sure, but it wasn't designed to have a monocle added to it.
No.
Right.
But they made it happen.
They figured it out, right? So with James Webb Space Telescope, it's not serviceable. Okay. I get that. Not designed to be serviceable. But we can't even try to add a monocle. Not that we would add a monocle. It'd be an optical way.
How much would the monocle cost?
Probably another $20 billion. No, but let's ignore that for a moment. We don't even have the ability to do it. We can't even approach it because we can't turn it off. We have handcuffed ourselves in that regard. So I really truly do hope that everything goes as planned.
Yes,
but
me too.
I don't know. I at least in the systems that I design, I at least always have some way to do something. And maybe it's not great, maybe it's not awesome, but usually there's some sort of something that, like you did it, right? You're not going to just make it and be like, well, hope this works because we can never get back to it again.
Oopsies.
Yeah, actually.
Would you ever design a part like that?
Hey,
no.
Joseph Gruber brings up a good point, which is, what does turn it off even mean? What does it mean to
There's
you?
a giant breaker switch that you turn off.
Right? And sparks fly and you got to redo it.
Actually, that's a very valid question. And I think ultimately what it means is you can approach it with a spacecraft.
Okay.
So now there might be potential damage to, Dada, brilliant. Here you go. Here's a perfect example of like having to do just clever things. That's Skylab.
Humans.
Sure. Doesn't need to be humans. They had options though. They
They didn't.
You
could not get a robot up there to do that at that time. No, the robotics of that time, of the 70s, of the early 70s, when Skylab was flying, it could not have done that. I disagree to my absolute core that it could not have done that. It needed to be
I'm not
humans.
saying robotics, Jared. I'm saying have the option. You're also assuming that humans can't get there with some sort of future transport tech. So let's go.
True.
Okay, hang on. What's the service life of James Webb?
5
20
years.
5 years? 5 years. Oh my God.
Taking longer to build.
I'll be over here 5 years.
Which will be one of the longest operating cryogenic systems in space.
Oh my God.
Of its temperature range, okay? Seriously, they will probably be able.
At 5 years, you're right. It doesn't make any sense.
They will probably be able to extend that out, and then also you can do what's called warm operations. So once they run out of coolant-
Hang on. Joseph, group is saying it's the 5 years is congressional based. So can we could theoretically make this thing go longer, right?
Yes,
we can
absolutely.
Okay, cool.
It
Okay,
most certainly will.
Sure. Okay, cool. So there we're at. So we're at
Because
year number 10.
I want to throw this just so that our viewers understand this too, which is that once it's in the shade, it's going to stay cold. It's going to be really cold if it's assuming the shades work and everything. So right
When
it's
shade,
really,
you mean
really
like
cold.
eclipse?
Yeah, no sunlight is reaching.
Sure. Oh,
So-
it has its own sunshades. That's right. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and it's not facing the Earth either, so you're not even getting radiative heating from the Earth as well.
Okay,
That's why it was chosen to go to L2.
Sure,
because
yeah.
It's cold, and it's
Sure.
going to be cold there. And it's going to stay cold there.
You know what?
So that means that even if you lose your cryo cooler at some point, which we will, hopefully after
2.5
5 years
years.
or longer, it will still be relatively cold. So we could still get it down to probably the surface temperature of the moon at night. Something
I guess.
like that.
Okay, so let's run another scenario by you. But also, I
I'm
guarantee
so scared, and this is not helping me.
Hang on. I bet that these are similar debates, although with a lot less laughing, a lot less fun. Similar debates that the engineers actually had when designing this system.
Yes.
I would be very surprised if there wasn't an engineer pushing for serviceability on this system and other engineers saying, no, this doesn't make any sense. Physics. Like, I feel like this conversation happened 30 years ago.
Yeah, probably.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go into this scenario then. The system worked exactly as expected.
Yes.
You can breathe. Centered. Jared is centered.
It's February 1st, and everything's working.
Everything's working brilliantly. And in fact, the system worked for 5 years. And at 6 years, computers having like weird radiation hits. Like we need to replace parts of the computer. Now, if we had the ability to just turn off the cryo coolers, we could totally do that. But we didn't build that ability in. We just need the ability, because we figured out how to get there using robots and AI, because 5 years from now, that's fine. In fact, we can send it up on Neutron, right? It'll send the whole thing, right?
Neutron could just go grab it.
Think of just
Right?
right. No, but so Neutron will go, and then there's sorry, bad mic practices. But right, so Neutron sends up a cool little thing. It's just a little android thing, and it's got really cool AI on board. Doesn't even need humans.
Excuse me.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's got AI on board. It can go up there. It can take off the side panels. It can do all of the work that it needs to do. The only problem is it can't approach the spacecraft that's at crazy cold temperatures, which is the technical term for how cold James Webb
crazy cold
crazy cold temperatures. So now you don't get any more serviceable life out of the system because they simply didn't allow the cryogenic system to be able to be shut off. And so to Joseph's point, asking what I'm asking for, what does off mean? Off means the ability for a spacecraft to approach it. The James Webb at this point is non-operational. We cannot get it back unless the spacecraft approaches it. We need the ability to safe the system in a way where it's not crazy cold and a spacecraft can approach it and do whatever work it needs to do. And you know what? Because at that point, if the spacecraft damages James Webb, we're no worse off than we were before.
Now, see, at that point, if we had gotten a full mission duration out of James Webb, everything that we wanted out of James Webb, I don't see any reason why we couldn't risk going and doing a service on it.
How will they do a service on it? Because it's physics. When the system is not designed to be serviceable and it's crazy cold.
So I can say there were instruments on Hubble that were designed to not be serviceable, but they figured out how to do it and go in and replace them and make those systems work. We could probably do
Jared,
the
that was
same
basically
thing.
my entire point this whole time, is that we are creative and that we come up with ways to service these things.
But after 5 years, once the warranty expires, you could play with it all you want.
No, it doesn't have to be after 5 years once the warranty expires. It doesn't have to be after 5 years. My point is it's whenever James Webb is no longer operational.
Yes.
Maybe that's 5 years. Maybe that's 1 year.
Yeah. Maybe we could probably, I don't know, get some commercial partner to go out there and fix it.
Joseph's final comment is because NASA, and then he actually said in the chat, mic drop, and I don't know why that did not render on screen. But he dropped the mic, and
Yeah. I see somebody in the chat room says spin it around into the sunlight so it will warm up enough to approach.
That's a great idea.
That's also
I
going
see
to,
no issues with that.
It's also going
whatsoever
to fry those
It's
instruments.
fine.
I'm sure those instruments that sit at 40 Kelvin are going to be totally fine at like 400
Did
Kelvin.
we? So,
No,
Mike.
you do a barbecue roll so that it warms up slowly.
There you go.
Thanks, Donna. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Hey, engineers solve problems, man.
Yeah, true.
Ryan, you haven't said anything in all of this. So, Big Giant Head, what's your opinion? Should they have made it serviceable?
I'm just sitting back and listening to whatever is happening here.
Yeah.
Mommy and Daddy.
No, what's
are
your
fighting.
opinion? Like, mommy and daddy are fighting. So, what do you think? Should they? And you are the deciding vote.
What's your opinion?
You are deciding vote. Do you go with the engineers, or do you go with the real engineers or the armchair engineer? Which one? Look. I openly admit that I have no idea what I'm talking about here. Like, I don't know. I don't have access to the specs. I don't know what that would have taken. I don't know the weight requirements. I don't know the structural loads that would have taken. Maybe they did look at this and they were like, "Oh, we just can't do this." I have no idea.
From what I understand,
it's also
yes,
entirely
they did.
possible. It's also entirely possible that this was a decision that was made based on requirements that are 30 years old.
That's true too.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Ryan. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that obviously you have to go with the real engineers because they're the people who design the spacecraft. Servicing it would be great, but physics says no.
Oh, hey, actually, this is a good question from Brad. Okay, I'm gonna send this to. Actually, this goes to Jared.
Sure.
Dumb question. Not a dumb question. If
No,
we're going to start
not a dumb
building a
question,
new
no.
James Webb Space Telescope, this is the Jared Head Space Telescope.
Nice.
JHST, which is
Finally.
based off of the James Webb technology.
Does it have a mohawk on its sunshade?
Well,
In Morse code M, yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jared. That was low. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
go to a.
There's not enough.
camera
There's
that's-
not enough.
Go to
There's not
Jamie's
enough
camera real
telescope
quick.
to.
Go to Jamie's camera real quick. Not my camera. Thank you. Thank you.
Only good things are happening right now. So the Jared Head Space Telescope is that going to be, if we build the Jared Head Space Telescope with James Webb Space Telescope technology, using technology from today,
Yes.
would it theoretically be cheaper? Because as we covered, this is bleeding edge tech, right? This is
So the Jared Head Space Telescope is the next.
it's super hyper.
It's our flagship. It's our next
It's our
flagship space telescope.
It's not
Because
just it's
That's
basically
actually already underway.
the Jared Head Space Telescope.
Not the Jared Head Space Telescope, but the next flagship is. They're already studying it.
So let's not say the
So,
next flagship.
let's just say
'cause
we're
there are
gonna
two
make a
ways
second James Webb.
Yeah, we're going to make another James Webb. Could we do it much, much cheaper now?
I don't know if it would be cheaper, just because of the technological development was expensive. It really was very
So it is
expensive.
cheaper.
So
It would be
I
cheaper
hope
because we've
it's
already
cheap.
figured it out.
I would hope it's cheaper, but at the same time, Perseverance, the Mars rover Perseverance, was made out of mostly spares of Curiosity,
Yeah.
and it wasn't cheaper.
It was really?
Because of the changes in the instrumentation that were on board.
Oh, okay.
So So what would happen? They probably wouldn't want the Jared Head Space Telescope would not be a carbon copy reflight of James Webb.
Okay.
They would probably try to. Honestly, if I were to fly another James Webb, I would figure out how to make it even colder so that it can look even further back.
So what you're saying, Jared,
You're saying you make it Space Telescope
less serviceable than the non-serviceable James Webb Space Telescope.
We'll build serviceability into this one at the extra cost. We'll eat that cost to make it happen. I just feel like it will cost a James Webb to make it serviceable.
All right, so there was a comment from Vax Headroom says, "Can I launch it on Sea Dragon mic drop?" And for the reason he's dropping that mic is there's a fantastic episode that we have. Was it tomorrow at that point, or was it Space Vidcast?
Oh, I don't know. You have to ask
I don't remember. Well, I think he was on both. I'm not sure he would remember either. Talking, he just did like an hour-long riff on Sea Dragon. I think it was Space Vidcast at that time.
Tomorrow.
No,
Was
that
it?
was
Vax
tomorrow.
is saying tomorrow.
Okay, cool. And then there was another really great comment. Oh no.
Yeah, here we go. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Okay, actually, this is, I think, a really good concept. Arvale says, "I really feel like we should build 2 of everything we do, Voyager style." That's not actually a terrible idea.
It would be good, but then like you're building 2 flagship missions at the same time.
Sure.
We tried that with the Mariner Mark II spacecraft in the 80s, and Congress didn't like that.
Sure, we also tried that with, God, what was the mission? What was the name? Voyager.
Yes.
Yeah, that worked pretty well for us.
It did. We did it with stereo as well to study the sun. Worked exceptionally well.
I hope that.
We did that with Grail to study the gravitational field of the moon.
Was
That
one
worked
holy
perfect.
and the other one Grail?
What's up?
Nothing. No, bad joke. No.
No.
Did I get a womp? We need sound effects. So, yeah, I should rebuild.
Oh, that's
I've
a
got this-
slippery slope.
Oh, it
That's
really
a
is.
slippery slope, my friend.
Someone has brought up one of my favorite ways to do things. Which,
Sorry, Dutch Universe. Let's hope this doesn't turn into the James Whoopsies.
yeah, let's not.
That's a good one.
Let's not. That wouldn't be very good. So, yeah, good times.
The cost of Raul Santos says the cost of production isn't even 10%, and I completely agree with that. All of your cost is in engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
making multiple copies of hardware is not really a bad thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I just want to point out.
Not only
Yes, but Congress.
not only is Perseverance made from spares from Curiosity, but they also have another one that's in the Mars Yard,
Yes.
and
So.
probably spares from that too.
Yeah, definitely.
I was
And,
just flailing on screen behind Dada.
No, it's good. I thought that was good. Yeah, and I mean, again, James Webb, this is not just something that nobody's done in the 90s. This is not just something that nobody's done in the aughts or the 2010s.
This was a fun debate, Jared.
Something that nobody's done even
I enjoyed
now.
myself.
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hope everybody learned something.
I wanna know-
especially you, Jamie. So,
I've hit the big giant head. Earthquake.
Wake up!
not a funny joke
I
here.
really know it is. Oh,
what did you do?
no, I did it
Oh,
again.
Jesus.
Can't trust you with
I keep
anything.
doing that. I keep doing that to this. I'm trying to rotate it.
Wow, you literally dropped Ryan's chords.
I feel like this is a good point to end the show.
Yeah.
This plays really well on the podcast, by the way.
Yeah, I know. For those listening and not able to see, we've lost the big giant head.
Which they couldn't see to begin with.
Exactly.
Yes.
Also, you can better see the reflection of the table.
Yeah. Let's get a.
Wait, what?
Oh no.
Did he take this opportunity? Yeah, that's cute. The best part is, hang up, go to his camera real quick. You can see him. You can see him. You can see him leave.
Hey, is this TV serviceable?
Yes.
Is it? That's good.
Also, it's
good.
so low cost,
Clearly
you would
you-
just throw it away and buy a new one.
Clearly, you can turn it off and turn it back on
Which,
again.
if James Webb was so low cost, you could throw it away. I don't think I would care if it were serviceable.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Thanks. That one hurts.
Oh, Johnny,
That one hurts
dude.
in multiple places.
All right, I think that's our show. I think we're going to continue this. Oh, first off, I actually would like to know what you think about the serviceability of James Webb Space Telescope. Once again, in the comments. You guys know you know the deal. This is a YouTube channel.
Yes.
We have to feed the algorithm,
Yeah.
or it gets angry at us. Feeding the algorithm, do 2 things to feed the algorithm. First, please hit the little like button, the little up arrow, up thumb on YouTube. That helps us a great deal. It lets the algorithm know that actually you did enjoy the show. Even if you hated the show, I would appreciate it. Thumbs up. The other thing that helps us a great deal is subscribers. Well, those are members, but yeah, subscribers. So, hitting the subscribe button, you can go back to it. It's fine. Hitting the subscribe button and actually just subscribing to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything to do either one of those things. And I cannot tell you how much it helps us by feeding the algorithm. And I know everyone gets sick of hearing that. No one wants to do it. And I know that you don't do it either because I look at the stats.
There's a line from a channel that I heard recently that I really liked, which is, if you like what we do, subscribe. If you don't like what we do, send us to your friends so they'll subscribe.
Pretty much that would help. And as Dada, who's rusty and has been trying to, there you go. He's been putting up on the screen. These are our members. This also helps us, but this helps us in a different way. This helps us financially. And so there are different levels of membership. You get different perks for each different level of membership. We start at escape velocity and then all the way down to ground support. And all of the people who have their names in here are members on our YouTube channel. You can go to youtube.com/TMRO/join for more information on how you can support the show financially. Also, that was amazing. Kitty Cat's comment, which went over the slate, was just there were so many names, just went blah. But seriously, thank you to every single person in that list. We greatly appreciate it, especially for those of you who moved from Patreon over to YouTube. And I realize not a lot of people really wanted to do that, or maybe people aren't super comfortable giving Google money, or whatever the case may be. For those of you who did make the transition, I really appreciate it. Seriously, it helps us keep the lights on, keep the gravity, keep the gravity working on station. That's very expensive. You have no idea. That rapid airlock cost a lot of money to have installed. But really, truly, it means a lot to us. So thank you so much. Again, I cannot stress enough. Please like the video. Subscribe to TMRO. I feel like I got weird sounding for a second there. And on that note, we're going to end the show. If you are one of those members, you head over to the membership room, and the conversation will continue. You get you got the pre-show where you watched us create the big giant head. And then you also get access to the post-show, which is, I have no idea what's going to happen, but this was a sporty show, so I expect it to be a sporty post-show. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
All right.